Hey there, fellow spooky enthusiasts. Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most infamous haunted house stories in American history. The Amityville Horror. Buckle up because we're about to go full-on ghost hunters as we try to separate fact from fiction. In this video, we'll explore the chilling events and the lasting impact of this terrifying tale. We're talking demonic pigs, walls oozing slime, and enough red flags to make a skeptic out of a Ouija board. So grab your holy water, make sure your doors are locked, just in case, and get ready to explore a story that has terrified generations. Before the Amityville house earned its chilling reputation, it was home to the DeFeo family. Picture this. It's the 1970s and we're in the seemingly idyllic town of Amityville, Long Island. The DeFeos, parents Ronald and Louise and their 5 children, seemed like the picture-perfect family. But behind the facade of normalcy, something sinister was brewing. Ronald DeFeo Jr., the eldest son, was known to be a troubled young man. It was in this seemingly ordinary home that the DeFeo family story took a tragic and terrifying turn. November 13th, 1974. The date is seared into the memory of anyone familiar with the Amityville Horror. It was on this night that the unthinkable happened. Imagine this, the dead of night, the quiet neighborhood shrouded in darkness. Suddenly, gunshots pierced the silence, 6 shots to be exact, each one a life cut tragically short. Ronald DeFeo Jr., just 23 years old at the time, had committed an unthinkable act, murdering his entire family while they slept peacefully in their beds. His parents, his 2 brothers, and his 2 sisters, all gone in a flash of violence. The gruesome scene discovered by investigators was nothing short of horrifying. Each family member was found lying face down in their beds, as if an unseen force had pinned them there. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. In the aftermath of the DeFeo family murders, all eyes turned to Ronald DeFeo Jr., the sole surviving member. The evidence was overwhelming. DeFeo was at the scene, his rifle was used, and his alibi fell apart. Despite this, DeFeo maintained his innocence, claiming demonic possession. His defense? An evil entity drove him to commit the murders. The jury found him guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. DeFeo was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences. Just over a year after the DeFeo murders, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue stood eerily vacant. Its dark history seemed to cling to its walls, casting a long shadow over the property. But despite its gruesome past, the house was, after all, a stunning piece of real estate, a spacious Dutch colonial with a water view. Enter the Lutz family, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 young children. They were a young family looking for a fresh start, and the Amityville house, despite its history, seemed like the perfect place to build their dreams. They believed that the horrors that had unfolded within its walls were behind them, that they could create a happy home despite the tragedy that had occurred there. Little did they know that the house at 112 Ocean Avenue held secrets far darker and more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. At first, life in the Amityville house seemed almost normal, deceptively peaceful. The Lutz family settled into their new home, unpacking boxes, arranging furniture, and enjoying the spacious rooms and the beautiful water view. But beneath the surface, something was amiss. Strange occurrences began almost immediately, subtle at first, like whispers in the dark. Cold spots in certain rooms, despite the winter chill being kept at bay by the furnace. Foul odors like rotting flesh that seemed to appear out of nowhere and disappear just as quickly. Kathy Lutz, a devout Catholic, began to experience vivid nightmares, disturbing visions that seemed to seep into their waking hours. She felt an oppressive presence in the house, a sense of dread that seemed to grow stronger with each passing day. The children, too, began to exhibit strange behavior. Their daughter Missy became withdrawn and spoke of an imaginary friend named Jody, a demonic entity that she claimed lived in the house. As the days turned into weeks, the paranormal activity in the Amityville house intensified, escalating from unsettling occurrences to full-blown terror. The Lutz family found themselves trapped in a nightmare, prisoners within their own home. Doors slammed shut on their own, objects moved mysteriously across rooms, and disembodied voices whispered their names in the dead of night. One of the most terrifying incidents involved a swarm of flies that materialized in the house despite it being the middle of winter. The flies, a symbol of death and decay, seemed to be drawn to the house, buzzing incessantly and covering the windows in a thick, black mass. Then there was the infamous incident with the Red Room, a small, hidden space in the basement that emanated an overwhelming sense of evil. George Lutz claimed that the room was a portal to hell, a gateway to another dimension where demonic entities resided. After just 28 terrifying days, the Lutz family reached their breaking point. They could no longer endure the relentless onslaught of paranormal activity, the constant fear and dread that permeated every corner of the Amityville house. They made the difficult decision to flee, leaving behind their belongings, their dreams, and the home that had become their nightmare. In the dead of night, with only the clothes on their backs, the Lutz family piled into their car and fled 112 Ocean Avenue, vowing never to return. They left behind a house that had tested their sanity, a place where evil seemed to lurk in every shadow. Despite the trauma they had endured, the Lutz family eventually found refuge with Kathy's mother. They were safe, at least physically, but the psychological scars of their time in the Amityville house would linger for years to come. News of the Lutz family's terrifying experiences at 112 Ocean Avenue spread like wildfire, attracting the attention of paranormal investigators and media outlets alike. Among those drawn to the case were Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned demonologists who had investigated some of the most haunted locations in the world. Armed with their expertise and an array of paranormal investigation equipment, the Warrens entered the Amityville house, hoping to shed light on the dark forces that seemed to plague it. What they found, they claimed, was beyond anything they had ever encountered. During their investigation, the Warrens reported experiencing a range of paranormal phenomena, including cold spots, disembodied voices, and even physical attacks. They captured photographs of what appeared to be spectral figures and recorded EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena, that sent chills down the spines of those who heard them. Lorraine Warren, known for her psychic abilities, claimed to have sensed a powerful demonic presence in the house. In 1977, just 2 years after the Lutz family's ordeal, Jay Anson released the Amityville Horror, captivating readers worldwide. The book became an instant bestseller, sparking fascination with the haunted house. Anson's book detailed the Lutz family's encounters with demonic forces, their flight from the house, and the psychological toll it took on them. The story blurred lines between fact and fiction, fueling public interest. The Amityville Horror became a cultural phenomenon, sparking debate about the supernatural. In 1979, the chilling tale of the Amityville Horror leaped from the pages of Anson's book to the big screen with the release of the film adaptation of the same name. The movie, starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder, terrified audiences, further solidifying the Amityville house's place in horror history. The film, much like the book, presented a fictionalized account of the Lutz family's experiences, taking creative liberties and amplifying the horror for cinematic effect. Scenes of demonic possession, levitation, and oozing walls became iconic images of horror cinema, burned into the minds of moviegoers. The Amityville Horror movie was a box office success, spawning a franchise that included sequels, prequels, and remakes. The franchise, though varying in quality, kept the story of the haunted house alive, introducing it to new generations and solidifying its place in pop culture. The film adaptation, like the book before it, sparked controversy and debate. Decades after the Lutz family fled 112 Ocean Avenue, the Amityville Horror continues to fascinate and terrify. Was the haunting real or an elaborate hoax? Skeptics point to inconsistencies and lack of evidence, suggesting financial gain motivated the story. Believers cite the Warrens' investigation and subsequent reports. The debate remains unresolved, captivating us all. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the terrifying history of the Amityville Horror. We've explored the chilling events, the paranormal investigations, and the enduring legacy of this infamous haunted house. But now it's your turn to decide. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the world's most chilling stories. We've got a whole case file of unsolved mysteries, paranormal encounters, and spooky tales just waiting to be explored. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Amityville Horror. Do you believe it was real or just a hoax? Share your thoughts, theories, and any spooky encounters you've had. We're dying to hear from you. As the chilling tale of Amityville draws to a close, one can't help but wonder how much of what we fear is real and how much is a reflection of our darkest imaginations. Do places hold the power to trap the echoes of past horrors? Or is it our minds that breathe life into the shadows? Share your thoughts. What do you believe is lurking in the corners of history's most haunted places? Let the conversation begin, if you dare.